Oh, sometimes the truth is painful.
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome to Todd's Truth, for my first episode of Todd Wrestles with the Truth, an AEW week in review. So we're going to start off with AEW Dark Elevation, their new show that airs every Monday night. This was the second episode of AEW Dark Elevation. Their announce crew is really good, I think. Makes it more than worth watching it, with Paul White, former Big Show, and Tony Schiavone. They're great. I mean, like I said, they make it worth watching, just the two of them, because they're so funny. And Paul White is freaking hilarious with some of the jokes and stuff he tells. The first match of the night was Ty Conti with -1 from the Dark Order in her corner against Ray Lynn. This was a good match. Ty Conti is really good. No real botches during it. Ty Conti is like really smooth as a wrestler, really, quick. She's also a black belt in judo, I believe. So she has that ability as well. And you see some of it in the matches with her. This was a really good match, I think. It lasted about 5 minutes. Good time for a match. Ty Conti won it with she did a running knee strike first, and then hit the hammerlock DDT, as she's calling it, instead of DDT, for the win. That made her 8-2 in AEW, so she's now the number one contender for the Women's Championship. The next match of the night was Big Shotty Lee Johnson with Dusty Rhodes in his corner versus Adam Priest. I thought this was going to be a squash match at first for Lee Johnson because, Dustin Rhodes was out there. So I thought, this was going to be, but it actually turned into a pretty good match. Priest showed some pretty good wrestling skills. I think a lot of more than Lee expected. This match went for about 6 minutes with Lee getting the win with what he calls the brain dog, which looked like a modified version of a kind of a brain buster, but he drops the person's head on his knee. So, that looks like it could be dangerous if you screw that move up. But Lee Johnson got the win. The next match of the night was a tag team match with the Varsity Blondes, which is Brian Pillman Jr., legacy wrestler, and Griff Garrison, versus Fuego del Sol and Jake St. Patrick. This was a good match for the Varsity Blondes, being a squash match, pretty much. The Varsity Blondes turning into a pretty good tag team. A lot of good moves. They've got some good tag team moves in there. They flowed really well. And Griff Garrison hit Fuego del Sol with a discus punch for the win. Overall, good match. The next match of the night was Platinum Max Caster of the tag team Acclaimed versus Ryzen. Max Caster came out with another one of his lame raps, I think. He thinks he's a rapper, not an original gimmick, but it's okay. And he's not really that great of a rapper. Max Caster wins this match with what he calls the mic drop, which is an elbow drop from the top rope. So, it was okay. It wasn't a great match. It was just okay. Then we had the Elevation Rising Star promo. This week was Red Velvet. It was a good promo for Red Velvet. Went a little bit of what she's done, how she got signed to AEW, when she stepped up to help Cody, and not bad. I mean, Red Velvet, she's turning into a pretty good wrestler. So that made me care a little bit more about her. The next match of the night is the women's tag team match featuring Leva Bates and Maddie Rinkowski. They obviously don't like each other, so I don't know why they were tag teaming together, because the whole match was them two bickering or not wanting to help each other. Versus Big Swole and Red Velvet. There we go. And it's really good to see Big Swole back from her time off because of her medical condition. So that was awesome. Because of their kind of back and forth between Leva Bates and Maddie Rinkowski. Big Swole and Red Velvet got the win after Red Velvet does a running drop kick to Maddie Rinkowski's head. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's probably gonna leave a mark tomorrow. Then the next match was members of Team Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks with Hook, which is Taz's son, in their corner at ringside. This was pretty much a squash match against Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs just did exactly what its name says. Powerhouse just, overpowered everybody, beat them down. Nobody really stood a chance against him. And then Ricky Starks, same thing. They just dominated this match from beginning to end. And Ricky Starks hits the Rochambeau, which is his finishing move, to win the match in just under 4 minutes. It wasn't even 4 minutes. Yeah, squash match. Then there was a quick promo for a new show called Outside the Ring, hosted by Lexi. And they're coming this April, looks like, on AEW YouTube. So not sure what that was. It was just a quick little promo, didn't say much. So be curious to see what this is going to be. Maybe another kind of talk show or something, but I'm not sure. The next match is Danny Limelight versus Baron Black. This was a good match between two pretty good AEW rookies. It's nice to see some of these rookies getting time, which is what Elevation is about 90% of what Elevation is going to be good used for. Is going to be their developmental stuff for rookies. So I like that. It's and they're two pretty good wrestlers. I mean, for rookies, they have some good moves. Danny Limelight made Baron Black tap out to his Maurice Sonata. So it was a pretty good move. A little submission move, but pretty good submission move. And pretty good rookies to get to see them instead of they're just being used to being squashed by the higher ups. It's pretty good to that they're doing this Elevation. This is the second episode, like I said, of Elevation. So they had a triple main event. So there were going to be 3 matches on the night that were all considered to be main events. So the first one was the Hollywood Hunk Ryan Nemeth versus Orange Cassidy, which is kind of cool to see Orange Cassidy, not on Dark or even Dynamite, but on the Elevation, helping out, rookies, elevating the rookies up, Elevation. Hello. And this was a good match. It's Orange Cassidy getting all of his spots in. Brian Nemeth driving him crazy because, every time he tried to put his hands in his pockets, Nemeth tried to stop him until he did it, and Nemeth freak out because he thought he's stupid and lazy and not a good wrestler, and so it just drove him crazy during the match. Orange Cassidy gets the win by using his move, the mousetrap, for the pin, but then Nemeth after the match attacks Orange Cassidy, and Chuck Taylor comes out to make the save, and while he's beating up Nemeth, JD Drake comes out, this is a weird pairing because as far as I know, I've never seen anything of these two even remotely, working together. But he comes out and attacks Chuck Taylor from behind, and they begin beating up the best friends, and then they leave. So it was really weird seeing him come out, and because, like I said, they were up to this point, there was nothing, that linking the Hollywood Hunk Ryan Nemeth with JD Drake. So this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. A new tag team, maybe, or maybe they form just some kind of an alliance because they're both newer to the group, to the AEW. But I think, the Hollywood Hunk Ryan Nemeth is the brother of the younger brother of Dolph Ziggler, who's in WWE. So this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. The next match was the second part of the triple main event. The newly signed, it's only been around for maybe not even a month now. The All Ego Ethan Page versus number 5, Alan Angels of the Dark Order. This was a really good match for both competitors. I mean, they both got to show some really good moves. They got to, get in their good spots and everything with Ethan Page getting the win in this with his Ego's Edge, which is essentially the Razor's Edge. Old Razor Ramon, that's his move, and he calls it the Ego's Edge. Now I can see why AEW signed him away from Impact. He's pretty good. I mean, you didn't get to see a lot of him at the ladder match, which he made on the pay-per-view. He's made his entrance, but this was a good match. He got to show some of his skills, and yeah, now I understand why they signed him away from Impact when his contract was up. The next match is the third part of the main event. So it was a women's main event, which cool, awesome to see, featuring Ryo Mizunami versus Layla Hirsch. Layla's really impressive wrestler for being I think she's about 5 feet tall. At least that's what she looks like when she's in the ring. But I've seen her give a beating to some people, and she's really, for her size, she is really strong too. But Ryo Mizunami is a veteran who has held I think 6 different titles, at least 6 different titles in Japan. And she only has 1 loss since coming to AEW, and that was against Hikaru Shida, the women's champ. That's it. So this was a really good match. They've got in some good blows, but some good moves, some good blows on each other. Quite a few times just beating on each other, pretty much to see who was tougher. And but Ryo Mizunami gets the win with her triangle choke, getting the submission win. It's a pretty cool move. Once she locks it in, I don't think you get out of it unless you can get to the ropes, because the way she locks it in, I don't think you can break out of this submission hold. So yeah, once she got it on, it was over. Well, that was my review of Dark Elevation. The next episode of Dark Elevation is Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern on AEW's YouTube channel. The next show of the week is AEW Dark, which takes place on Tuesday nights on their YouTube channel as well. So AEW now has 3 channels, or 3 shows now, 2 on YouTube, and then their 1 on TNT, which is, pretty good, having three separate shows, all, within an hour and a half to 2 hours long. That's pretty good. Well, AEW Dark this week, one of the best things about AEW Dark, though, real quick, is Taz. His trash talking everyone is hilarious. I mean, he says some of the funniest stuff. I mean, oh my God, I laugh more at him and the stuff he says than anything else going on in the show usually. Because he is just, like I said, he's hilarious. The stuff that just comes out of that man's mouth is just something else. The first match of the night for Dark was the Chaos Project, which is Luther and Serpentico, versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds from the Dark Order. First of all, Luther just uses Serpentico as a weapon. He grabs him, he throws him into people, he uses him as a weapon to hit people with. It is some of the funniest stuff. And it's poor Serpentico just stands there and just gets used as a weapon. It's so funny. This was a good match. John Silver and Alex Reynolds have become a really good tag team now since joining the Dark Order. They're just so good together. Their tags are fluid. They know what each other's thinking. They do the thing, like a good tag team does. They when they first came into AEW, they were just, they were okay. They were just being used, I think, as just squash match enhancement talent stuff. But since joining the Dark Order, they have really become a good tag team and a tag team to reckon with. This was pretty good, like I said, but it went John Silver and Alex Reynolds got the win after hitting the Dark Destroyer on Serpentico, which is a really cool move to see. Celebrating their win after was with -1, also the Dark Order, which is the son of the late Brody Lee, which is still sad to think about. But they've turned into a really good tag team. Luther and Serpentico they're good. Luther, longtime veteran, a lot in Japan. But yeah, really good match. Really fun match to watch. And the following, this was followed up by an interview with SCU, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, They're now the number one tag team contenders for the tag team titles. And they made a pact, I guess, with each other, saying that since Scorpio Sky got hurt, and now Scorpio Sky is doing a singles run now, it's back to Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian as the SCU tag team. And the pact that they made was if they lose even one match, they break up. They're no longer SCU, no longer tag team. So that's been interesting to watch because you don't want them to, they're not going to lose because nobody wants them to go away because they're a great tag team and they're, and everybody loves SCU. So they had the next match as well tonight. It was SCU versus Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. And again, with that stipulation of breaking up, they weren't going to lose this match. Christopher Daniels does the best moonsault ever, as it's called, for the win on Jarrell Nelson. This is a crazy moonsault. It is literally, I think, the best moonsault ever. But there was no doubt that SCU was going to win this match because they're not about to lose on Dark or even Dynamite. They're not about to lose a match and break up. Maybe it'll happen sometime, but I think they should save that kind of stuff for a pay-per-view if that would ever happen. Next match was a women's match. Penelope Ford versus Miranda Elise. Hope I'm saying that right. This match was okay. It was a little slow, kind of clunky in spots. And it was basically, Penelope Ford squash match, which Penelope Ford later won the match with a fisherman suplex, which is great to see that move coming back because, since Mr. Perfect, a lot of people don't use that move anymore. And he used it as a finisher too, which Penelope Ford did here as well. But yeah, just an okay match. It wasn't a good match. It was just okay. The next match of the night was a 6-man tag team match featuring the Gun Club, which is Billy Gunn. Everybody knows who Billy Gunn is. And his two sons, Austin and Colton. And they formed the Gun Club, which I love that. I love that name. And versus 3 guys who are, going to lose. Rookies, jobbers, whatever you want to call them. This was a squash match for the Gun Club. The Gun Club is undefeated now, as they are they aren't about to lose to the enhancement talent, jobbers, rookies, whatever you want to call them. This is they get the win with their finishing move called the 310 to Yuma, which love the name. Perfect for that they act like the Cowboys, the Gun Club. It's a great finisher, great name. And the next matchup was Jack Evans versus Dante Martin. Jack Evans is a really good high flyer, does a lot of high risk moves. He's also gotten himself in a little trouble lately while taking some money from Matt Hardy to attack Dark Order members because Matt Hardy's on a rampage now because of Hangman Page he wants to destroy the Dark Order. But doing that, Jack Evans is probably going to be on the receiving end of a beating soon, a beatdown really soon, because there's a lot of Dark Order members, and it's just him and his tag team partner, unless he's going to go run and help have Matt Hardy and his group try and protect him. But a real shocker here is Dante Martin is 19 years old. He just turned 20, the youngest person signed to AEW. And he's a rookie, but him and his brother, who's currently out injured right now, along with Jack Evans, his partner, who is injured as well, Dante Martin is really good. He had some great moves in this. Like one of the moves was he got thrown into the metal barrier, but he did a flip over the metal barrier, so he didn't touch it. Yeah, I was like, what the? So it was good. And it was a shocker because I could have sworn that Jack Evans was going to win this match. But Dante Martin got the win. So that was really a shocker. He hit a Canadian Destroyer on Jack Evans on the outside, which, ouch. Yeah, I don't care. That looked painful. Then he rolled him back inside, then hits Jack Evans with a 450 splash from the top rope for the 1-2-3. Which I was really surprised. I thought for sure Jack Evans was going to win this. Then Jack Evans' tag team partner, Angelico, who I thought was still injured, who hadn't come back yet officially. At least I didn't think he had. He ran out and started attacking Dwayne Martin from the back. Attacked him from behind. Sorry, and then Dante is getting beat up, and Dante, his brother Darius, who's also hurt and not cleared to wrestle, runs out and makes the save. So that was a little confusing because you had two partners who were fighting, two other partners who were supposed to be hurt, and were both there and had to make the save for each other's partner. So that was a little confusing at a time when you're like, wait, are they even cleared to be there? The next matchup was Brian Cage versus Brandon Cutler for the FTW Championship, which Brian Cage holds, which was given to him by Taz. Taz is the last holder as well of that championship. And Brandon Cutler's become pretty good. He's become a good wrestler. Got a lot of speed, some really good moves, but yeah, Brian Cage is just a walking mountain of muscles. And I don't think there was any way that Brandon Cutler could have overcome the pure strength of Brian Cage. And which Brian Cage wins this match, but it really came out of nowhere, the ending of this thing, because you wouldn't have seen it coming, because Brandon Cutler went to the top rope to do I think it was a crossbody or something, and when he jumped in midair, Brian Cage caught him in midair and then finished him with his finishing move, the drill claw, which was something to see when he catches a person. And Brandon Cutler's not a small dude either, but he caught him out of midair and then you did the drill claw on him for the 1-2-3. Really impressive match by Brian Cage. And Brandon Cutler was no slouch in it either. He showed some pretty good moves, but again, Brian Cage is a walking mountain of muscle, so it was going to be hard to get away over that guy. The next match was a women's match with Ashley Vox versus Alexa Garcia. This was an okay match between two new people to AEW. So it was kind of like, it's good to see, like more, I don't know if they're exactly rookies, but this is the first matches I think I've seen them in. So, rookies to AEW, I'll say. But really good. I mean, good match, okay. You could tell that they're still kind of feeling out, they're kind of green still. But Ashley Vox, I think came out of nowhere, the win did for her. She hooked in a fish hook submission move and got her first win in AEW. So yeah, so Vox's was that. But yeah, it came out of nowhere because up until that point, I thought Alex Garcia was doing most of the damage in this match. But then that's what a submission will do. I mean, if you got a good submission and you can lock it in, that'll take care of it. The next match was Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus another couple of enhancement talent rookies, whatever you want to call them. Which they're okay. I mean, Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, they're okay wrestlers. They're not exactly my style, but they're just okay. The match was just okay. And of course, Janela and Kiss got the victory because, I think this was a squash match for them, or at least just for them to win it. The next match was JD Drake versus Fuego del Sol. JD Drake got the win in this match after a massive kick to Fuego del Sol's face. I don't know if it was just a kick or if he was kind of like a diving kick to the face, but it happened so quickly and it happened off a rebound of a rope that it happened and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And then it was the 1-2-3. Next match of the night was QT Marshall versus another rookie. Build up QT Marshall and his ongoing storyline with Cody. He's been going through. I think he's been going through. I don't know if it's been completely a heel turn or if he's just been I don't know, like not feeling appreciated, I guess is what you could say. So, he challenged Cody to a match next week, this next Wednesday on Dynamite. But QT Marshall wins this match after hitting the Diamond Cutter, which was, it was given to him by Diamond Dallas Page, who said he could, use his Diamond Cutter. And he used it quite effectively to get the win. And then here was a big singles female match was next, because it saw, I think, the return of the Bunny into her first, I think this was her first match in a while that she hasn't been, it's good to see her back against Jasmine Allure. And it's great to see her back wrestling again, instead of just being a manager on the outside for Butcher and Blade, because she's a good wrestler. She was a good wrestler in Impact too. So it's great to see her back. Bunny wins this match with her finishing move, Down the Rabbit Hole, it's called. This was a good match. It was a squash match, but it was great to see Bunny back in wrestling, because, like I said, she's a good wrestler. The next match of the night was a 6-man tag team match featuring the Dark Order, which was Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson versus some more enhancement talent, rookies, whatever you want to call them. Nothing bad there. They're there to learn. They're there to, and you've got like Colt Cabana, what a veteran he is. And Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, great tag team. So you put those three together, man, they are good. But twice during this match, two of these rookies tried to mouth off to Colt Cabana, and both times he punched him in the face. So don't mouth off to Colt Cabana. Yeah, punch right in the face. It was hilarious. I mean, don't piss the guy off. Evil Uno, like I said, and Stu Grayson are a really good tag team. And, Colt Cabana added to that. Yeah, they're good. And it was a fun match to watch, with the Dark Order getting the win with the fatality. 3 good wrestlers. The next match of the night was a tag team featuring the Nightmare Factory, which is Cody Rhodes' training facility in Atlanta, which he co-owns with QT Marshall and with Glacier, if anybody remembers Glacier from the old WCW. It was Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo versus Angel Fashion and D3. These are both rookie tag teams. This is one thing that's good about Dark, is getting to show off, like Elevation is doing now. It's, like building up these rookies to become better wrestlers, and, so they can get in that training and in that camera time, so they can learn better to, what to do. And it's like, it was a great match. This Nick Camarado is, again, another dude who's just big. He's a big dude, man, with a lot of muscles. I think he's somebody to watch. I think he's going to be a big star in AEW, because you can just tell he's got that, that thing about him that, you're like, dude, this guy's going to be good. And he was trained by QT Marshall, which is at the Monster Factory in New Jersey first, before QT Marshall went to Atlanta and, hooked up with Cody Rhodes and Glacier to co-own the Nightmare Factory professional wrestling training facility now in Atlanta. So I guess Nick Camarado came with him, or came there too now, and is now with AEW. So Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo get the win after Camarado does a power slam. Solo then does the pedigree, which it was essentially a modified pedigree for the 1, 2, 3. The next match is a singles match between Cesar Bononi and John Schuyler. This is ultimately a squash match for Cesar, because he literally got the win, and I think it was 3 minutes. So yeah, it's a squash match. And so the next episode of AEW Dark will be Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on AEW's YouTube channel. The main show, AEW Dynamite, which takes place on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock on TNT. The first match of this night was Kenny Omega versus Matt Sydal, which had Omega complaining that how dare they have the champion, the AEW champion, starting the show, being the first to wrestle. I guess that's like an insult, I guess, for the champion, because the champions are always supposed to be at the end of the night, I'm guessing, from what I've seen of everything. But that had Kenny Omega complaining, and that, which was really funny, since Kenny Omega's current character is bad shit crazy, and he's going off the deep end faster than the Titanic sank, which is funny to watch because Kenny Omega is hilarious. But Matt Sydal, longtime veteran as well, and he's joined AEW with his brother. So they formed their tag team now, and they've come to AEW, which is awesome because always have room for more good tag teams. This was a great match. Matt Sydal showed just how good of a wrestler he really is. I mean, it was good. This was a great match. I mean, for the starting match, this should have been the main event, because that's how good this match was. If Sydal could beat Omega, he would get a championship shot. Because he just showed off, and yeah, so it was that was all everything. There were several times I thought Matt was going to get the pin, because they were like, I mean, he was like an inch away from a 3 count, and then Omega would kick out. So they had it going back and forth pretty well. Finally, after several missed V triggers, because Sydal, had it scouted. So every time Omega went for the V trigger, Sydal either reversed it into something else, or he just got out of the way completely. And he even Kenny Omega even tried to go for his one-winged angel and got it reversed into a near fall roll up out of the one-winged angel, which was an impressive move. But finally, Kenny Omega got a V trigger, which stunned Sydal, and then he got the one-winged angel for the pin. The next match was Hangman Page versus Cesar Bononi, who just got a win on Dark last night, or the night before. And Hangman Page he's not a small guy, so it's like, but Cesar Bononi is big. This is a big dude. He tried to do a slingshot move to the outside on Cesar, but Cesar caught him in midair. Jumping over the top rope, he caught him on the outside and slammed him into the ring apron, which, ouch, because that's the hardest part of the ring as well. So he slammed his back into the ring apron. But it was a good match. I mean, Hangman, is a good wrestler. But his whole storyline's been pretty good. I mean, for going through the whole road to redemption thing, trying to become champion, that whole thing. It's been pretty good. But Hangman won with he hit the buckshot lariat on Cesar for the win. And then next was a promo for Lance Archer, who's the Murder Hawk, who, if you don't know who he is, he came over he was wrestling in New Japan. Contract ran out there, and he came over to AEW. So it's good to have him here, because he's a great wrestler, and he's a powerhouse too. He's just good. I mean, I've watched him multiple matches of his in Japan, and he's good. But he was just mostly whining in this promo. I'm not say whining, but complaining, but I'll say whining, about why he isn't in the spotlight and Sting is. So he wants to beat up Sting, which will be interesting, because Sting is like, what, in his 50s at least, I think. Maybe, yeah, I think he's in his 50s. So we'll see where that goes. He just wants the shot at he wants the TNT title. So that's, and then this was followed up by an interview with Britt Baker. She's turned into a good talker since becoming a villain, but she still has some really bad wrestling matches. I mean, other than this, lights out one that happened where it was all hardcore, didn't require a lot of wrestling. It was, mostly hardcore stuff, ladders, thumbtacks, good Lord. Those kind of things. But I still think she's not a good wrestler, because I've seen almost every match of hers I've seen, she's had multiple botches in it. So until she gets better at, doing moves and keep it going consistently without botching something, I'm not really a fan. But like I said, she's she's turned in a pretty good talker. I mean, since becoming a villain, and she laid out, she made fun of a whole bunch of people, saying how she became a hardcore legend in one night, where it took Mick Foley 20 years or something, and things like that. But seriously, less time talking and more time learning to be a better wrestler. So yeah, but yeah, moving on from that, because that's all I got to say about that. Then followed a good promo with Christian, where he was talking with a couple of rookies. 3 rookies are getting ready to do a tag team. And Frankie Kazarian of the SCU walked up and said, "What? You can't say hi to an old friend?" And so Christian's wearing a shirt that says "Outwork Everybody." And so Kazarian looked at the shirt and looked at him and goes, "So when's your work actually start?" And so they made, I guess, from the way they were talking, they made a match for next week on Dynamite. So that'll be awesome, because they're longtime friends and they've wrestled against each other for a long time too. In Impact, I think it was, and in some other independent circuit ones. But so that should be good. That should be a good match next week on Dynamite. Then next was FTR and Shawn Spears, part of the new group Pinnacle, versus the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin, because again, Dante's brother is still out hurt. But yeah, this was a nasty match. I mean, FTR and Shawn Spears just beat the crap out of these other 3. There was no way the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin were getting away with a win on this one. But this was the first appearance of the faction since they came out as the Pinnacle, since they destroyed the Inner Circle in that ambush attack. I thought it was going to be a squash match, but it turned out to be a little bit better. But yeah, there was no way that that they were going to get a win off these 3, because these guys are good. These guys are all veterans and all really good wrestlers, and the other 3 guys were all pretty rookies. Pretty fresh rookies, most of them, except Brian Pillman Jr. I think he's the only one of the 3 I actually knew who it was. But come on, FTR and Shawn Spears was not going to lose this match. Shawn Spears wins the match with the C4 to pin Dante Martin. Then Wardlow and the rest of the Pinnacle come in, and Wardlow attacks Brian Pillman Jr. And then the Pinnacle, after that, they throw him out of the ring basically, and then Pinnacle does an interview where they talk about, each one of them wants to destroy the other parts of the Inner Circle, and they want to tag team match FTR and Proud and Powerful, things like that. So it's going to be a good thing when they're back, when Inner Circle comes back, and this is going to be could be a huge thing for like a pay-per-view with like a 5-on-5, the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. I would pay for that just to see that match, because that's going to be a good match. So yeah, I would love to see that as a match in a pay-per-view. And then it was followed by Team Taz promo, where Taz was trying to convince everybody that Team Taz is okay. But the facial expressions on Brian Cage were telling a different story. And then when he was asked if everything was okay with Team Taz, Brian Cage just answered with his catchphrase. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't want to see Brian Cage, leave Team Taz, because I think the group is really good. But maybe this is just a little dissent in the group. Maybe something will happen to make them coalesce again. But yeah, no, good. Everything with Taz, A+. Taz is a great talker, a great promo guy, and a great commentator on AEW Dark. So all around, yeah. Anything with Taz, sign me up. This was followed up by another interview, this time with QT Marshall. Again, whining, I think, about Boohoo, being in Cody's shadow and then they made a match for next week on Dynamite. And Cody's arm is still hurt, his shoulder is still hurt, so he was wearing a sling. So I don't know if he's going to, how good a match it's going to be if Cody's still hurt. But the interesting part of this is Arn Anderson is going to be the guest referee. So that should be interesting, because, if you know the history of Arn Anderson, you never know what side the man's going to be on, because just as fast as he could be your friend, I mean, you could turn your back on him and he'll drive a knife right in it. So it's Arn Anderson's always walked that fine line of, can you trust him or not trust the guy? But the next match was a triple tag team match for the night. which was the Lucha Brothers and the Laredo Kid versus the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. I mean, yeah, this is going to be a freaking awesome match. And you just by knowing the competitors of it, you knew it was going to be good. And like putting these guys in, I mean, the Lucha Brothers, I'm more familiar with the Laredo Kid because he does a lot of wrestling in AAA. But he was on one of the pay-per-views a while ago before AEW, before the whole beer bug thing happened. And the Young Bucks are awesome. They're tag team champs. They're probably the best tag team in the world. And I know those people would argue that, but I think they're probably the best in the world. And I know they've definitely held more tag team titles than probably any other tag team in the world from all over the world. But yeah, like these guys weren't going to put on an amazing match, and it was an amazing match. Wow. It's hard when these guys get together. It's hard to even keep track of what's going on in the ring because they are flying all over the ring. I mean, it's trying to keep track of, well, this instance, it was normally 4 people in this Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks. But now Laredo Kid, another high flyer again. And so Brandon Cutler was doing stuff too. And it was just like, yeah, it was, even my ADD was having trouble keeping up with these guys. And the announcers were all just trying to keep up, which is hilarious for them to try and keep up with everything going on. Guys were flying everywhere. I mean, inside the ring, outside the ring, off the top rope, springboards everywhere. But then in the mix-up, while they're all fighting on the outside, the Laredo Kid hits Brandon Cutler with a Spanish fly for the win, which I did not see that coming. So that was a really great match. But before anybody could celebrate or anything, Kenny Omega comes out and attacks the Laredo Kid, hitting him in the head with I think it was a microphone. And then goes on a crazy rant after the Bucks stop him from attacking the Laredo Kid again with the championship belt. He goes on a crazy conspiracy rant about how the Young Bucks need to sweet him, which is their hand signal for what they used to be in the Bullet Club. And that how he didn't choose AEW or to come to AEW. He chose to go with and follow the Bucks. And he chose the Bucks, but the Bucks have never chose him. And he went on this crazy rant about conspiracy this, conspiracy that, and how nobody has his back, and how the Young Bucks need to step up and back him up. And after a little while of his rant, basically trying to guilt trip the Young Bucks into doing what he wants. The Young Bucks just told him no way, and they walked away. And as he yelled at him as they walked away and they walked in the tunnel, he's still yelling at him, and he turns around to continue his rant, and he gets a double super kick to the face from the Lucha Brothers, which, I'm sorry, made me laugh out loud because he just turned around and there they were, and they both super kicked him before he could even move. And then they followed it up by getting put by getting put in a package pile driver by Penta and assisted off the top rope to slam him down in the package pile driver and leave him in the middle of the ring. And then the Laredo Kid picked up the microphone and popped him in the head just like he did him. And they walked out of the ring, leaving Omega laying in the ring with a bloody mouth. And they no sooner cleared the tunnel than outruns the Good Brothers. Well, not runs, gingerly walking to come out to help. Like they weren't in any hurry to come out and help him from getting his butt kicked. Which leads to a match for next week on Dynamite. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Brothers and the Laredo Kid. Which that should be awesome. I mean, what a good match that's going to be. Considering that Kenny Omega has fought both Penta and his brother. So that should be a good match. And he also, I think he took the AAA World Heavyweight title off of one of them too. I can't remember which one it was. And I think I don't know if he still has it or not, but yeah, so that should be a really good match next week. Then another promo time here was a promo for Jade Cargill. She was basically talking trash about Red Velvet, typical trash talk wrestling. And then she followed it up by, I don't know if she called Red Velvet or she was talking about herself being one, but she said the bitch word, which whenever a wrestler in a promo does that, that means it's super serious. Shh, don't tell anybody, but it's super serious. It's super serious. We're talking, yeah. So, but she used the bitch word, so that means it's serious. Then there was an advertisement which I thought was interesting for the Rhodes, Cody and Brand Rhodes, getting their own reality show on TNT. Great for them. Great for just something else to rub in WWE's face and Vince McMahon's face. But yeah, I won't be watching. I don't watch reality shows, so good for them though. Yay, good, yay. And then the next match was Ty Conti, who had a match, who had like the number one contender now for the Women's World Championship against Nyla Rose, which is not one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about that right now, but yeah, I do not like Nyla. But the shocking thing about this was that Ty Conti, really good wrestler. I mean, she's really good. Like I said in the previous review, she's a black belt in judo, which you saw that in this match especially. She was doing some judo holds, judo throws. And I was shocked that she defeated Nyla Rose. I mean, blew me away. I was like, whoa, no way. I thought for sure Nyla was, this was going to be a squash match. But I guess they're not going to squash Ty Conti because she's aligned herself with the Dark Order now. So, but she beat Nyla Rose with the DD tie, as she's calling it, which I like. But after the match, Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose attacked her. 2-on-1, of course. Yeah. Then Hikaru Shida comes out to make the save and bashes Nyla Rose with her kendo stick, which I don't care. That hurts. Even I don't care if you get hit full force anywhere. That's going to hurt. That'll leave a mark. But then the weird thing was, out of nowhere, the bunny ran out and attacked Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti with the kendo stick. So I don't know where that came from because, the bunny's never done anything to help Nyla Rose before. But then it all became clear. Matt Hardy walks out with Butcher and the Blade, who are now his clients, and said how the bunny had been overlooked for far too long in AEW and how it wasn't right that the bunny was left out of the women's tournament for the number one contender for challenge for the women's championship, which I agree. The bunny's a great wrestler. She should have been in that tournament, but she wasn't. And how that this was all going to change now that they were clients of Matt Hardy's and that she was going to be getting a title shot soon. So more power to you. But like I said, I like the bunny. She's a great wrestler. She's always been a good wrestler. And I'm glad to see her back wrestling and not being just a manager for the Butcher and the Blade. Matter of fact, she's so good. She should be there. They should be her manager. Then there was a promo after that for which this looks like it's going to be a crazy match next week on Dynamite. It's called the Arcade Anarchy. So it's going to be a match between Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy versus Kip Sabian and Miro. So for what I understand about this, it's going to be an arcade room, like with arcade games everywhere. So I don't know if this is going to be some kind of like cinematic, some kind of match where they're gonna be fighting, but they're playing video games against each other or something. It just sounds like it's going to be crazy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of crazy this is, because so far they haven't really let you in on what kind of crazy it's going to be. But just calling it Arcade Anarchy is going to be, that's got me hooked to see what this is actually going to be. And then because of what happened earlier in the night, a match was made for next Wednesday's Dynamite. Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti versus the Bunny and Nyla Rose. That is going to be a great match because, I don't like Nyla Rose, but you've got the other three are really good wrestlers. So this is going to be a great women's match. Another match that happened was, of course, like I said earlier, was Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. So that again, another great match that Dynamite's going to be like, geez, I mean, that alone is, again, that is a pay-per-view quality match right there. And they're giving it to you for free on Dynamite. This was followed up by another promo by another guy I really like, Scorpio Sky, saying how he's not doing a heel turn, like, because everybody's thinking he was doing a heel turn, but he says he's not. This is just him being frustrated and mad at being underrated by everybody and not given, the chance. He's sick and tired of being overlooked for matches and championships and those kind of things. So yeah, I could see that because he really has been. He's a phenomenal wrestler. I mean, that's him and the other members of SCU. He's a third member of SCU. They are all great wrestlers. So, hey, go for it, Scorpio Sky. I don't care. Kick someone's ass if you have to. But yeah, no, put the TNT Championship belt on him because, yeah, I think he should have it. But and because I really don't think Darby Allin's a good champion. And then speaking of Darby Allin and the TNT Championship, the main event for the night is for the TNT Championship, which is John Silver of the Dark Order versus Darby Allin. Again, in my opinion, Darby Allin is the worst TNT champion. When Cody had it and when Brody Lee had it, they were defending the championship every week on TV because it's a television title. It's the TNT television title. So it should be defended on television. And since Darby Allin got the title, has he even defended it once on television? Except for, I think this is only the second time since he got the belt that he's defended it on television, where Cody Rhodes was coming out there and kicking ass every Wednesday night defending that title. And I think Brody Lee did it too. So yeah, I don't know why they're pushing Darby Allin so much in AEW. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's a good wrestler, and I don't think he's that good. And he certainly isn't a good champion because he hasn't defended the freaking belt. I was pretty sure they weren't going to have John Silver take it from him because they're protecting Darby. But I think Scorpio Sky would be a way better champion than Darby Allin. And Scorpio Sky is also way better wrestler, and I think that he would make a better champion and defend it more. Because that's the big thing. It's a TV title. It should be defended every week on television. And it hasn't been. But John Silver, on the other hand, I think is a really good wrestler and a powerhouse. He's another guy that he's like short, but he is like built. I mean, he's like built like a wall. It's like, wow, look at that dude. He's like, I mean, his partner is way bigger than him, way taller than him, but John Silver is way bigger than him. So that's what's funny, but he's a great wrestler too. Does some great, insane moves as well. Bad thing about this match was that during the match, John Silver got tossed over the barricade and onto the concrete floor. He landed wrong and hurt his arm, elbow, shoulder, that area. He was holding the whole area and his head too. Because when he came over that barricade, he landed wrong. He landed sideways, kind of, on an angle, and smashed his head and his arm into the concrete floor. And yeah, it wasn't good from there because he kept trying to do moves, but he couldn't because of hurting his arm. And you could see a big welt on his head too, where he cracked it into the concrete. So I'm surprised they didn't bust him open because he hit it pretty hard. So hard that his tag team partner who was out there hopped over the wall to see if he was okay because he knew something bad happened too. But Darby Allin gets the win, of course, because I said they're protecting him. Wins, gets the title win, and I expected that, so there was no shock there. But after the match, this is where the shock came in. Was after the match, Matt Hardy comes out of nowhere and attacks Darby Allin, and which I don't understand since Matt Hardy hasn't had a problem with Darby Allin, but he's had a problem with the Dark Order. So I don't know why he didn't attack John Silver, who's a member of the Dark Order, who was already hurt. He could have just attacked him and got his little sucker punches in, but he attacked Darby Allin, which completely baffled me. Then it turned into a big brawl because the rest of Matt Hardy's people came out. Private Party, the Butcher and the Blade, and the Bunny all came out, and outside by the ring, the Dark Order was already out there to watch the match with Silver. So the Dark Order and Darby Allin and Sting then all attacked Matt Hardy and his people. Even Ty Conte and the Bunny were outside fighting. So that was even more cool to watch but yeah, that was a hell of a way to end, but a confusing way, because I don't know what Matt Hardy was doing attacking Darby Allin, unless he was just doing that to, I don't know, get his attention about the title or something. I don't know, but hey, it was a great ending to the episode. So the next episode of AEW Dark, Elevation, like I said, is Monday nights. Dark is Tuesday nights. And the next episode of AEW Dynamite is Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT. And we'll see you next week for a week in review of AEW.